Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of Vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Welcome into Missing the Point, and it is, as always, our weekly Power Rankings show. Who was it that came up with the name Power Rankings? It sounds as if we're ranking wizards or something, you know? So some sort of ancient mystic evil has emerged, and we got to put them in 1 through 10. But nay, alas, it's the NFL. But that's just as fun, right, Bob? It's just me and you again for the second week in a row. We were supposed to have Joe Malkin join us, but unfortunately he was held up at gunpoint, and Batman saved him.
Yeah,
despite all the Christmas singing about Batman smelling, and he has to give a report to the police. So it's just the two of us.
In true dad fashion.
In true dad fashion. He's standing somewhere in a pair of New Balance and cargo shorts talking to the cops about a suspicious character in his neighborhood. Listen, we're doing the fucking power rankings, Bobby, and I got to say, depressing as it is, this is the second to last week of this season's power rankings. We only got one more after this.
Season flew by, man.
It flew by.
It seems like yesterday we were in like week 2. Being like, we don't know anything, like blah blah blah. And now we're in week 16, and we still
don't know anything.
We still really don't know.
Time is a flat circle, thankfully. True Detective season 1 taught us that. But we have a few housekeeping things to sort of get out of the way as Bobby pours himself an anonymous black alcoholic liquid with a Christmas bow on it. Nothing better than free liquor.
You got to keep the bow on it, bro. You know.
What are you drinking there, Bob?
It's Dr. McGillicuddy's.
Oh, Dr. McGillicuddy. Well,
not a sponsor.
Yeah. You know, they say a shot a day keeps the doctor away. I'm personally on the old classic red wine, and I have taken, full disclosure, a marijuana edible. Now, moving on to some of the housekeeping we have to do. First and foremost, let's just address the elephant in the room, since it's just me and you. And that is that you and I played each other in the Missing the Point fantasy football semifinals. Now, notwithstanding Mike and Riley playing each other in the other semifinal, and one of them beating the other like 54 to 51 or something pathetic like that. I don't know what you guys were doing over there. Ours was a battle fit for the Titans of Olympus. There was drama, there was chaos. And really, ultimately, it came down to the fact that you thought it was a good idea to pick up and start the Denver Broncos defense, who got you a whopping -6 points on the day. So, Bob, tell the viewers at home how it feels. Now, I will say, just for the record, we've had the podcast and the sort of partner, the little sidecar of the motorcycle being the Fantasy Football League. We've had it for 3 years. And I'll just say, I might go on a homicidal fucking rampage if I lose in this final, because I lost in the final the first year, I lost in the semifinal the second year, and I'm going to the final again the third year. I better win it. But if I don't, I do think my fantasy football supremacy is on the table here. As someone who's obviously been thereabouts. I'm the Andy Reid of our fantasy football league. You know, I'll get there one day. I'll get there one day. And plus, I can grow a hell of a mustache. Bob, how do you feel about that? Just heartbreaking defeat. But your own hubris brought you down. How does it feel?
It really was, though. Like, so I've been streaming defenses for a while. But I picked up the Chiefs defense, and I had them for like 3 weeks. And dude, I just saw the matchup against the fucking Baker Mayfield and the Rams. I didn't expect 51 points to go up on the board. Oof. But you're right. I got cute. You know, you just said you're the Andy Reid of fantasy football. If you go down, I'm pretty sure I'm the Dallas Cowboys of fantasy football, where like I just had this amazing season, and you know I was 11-3, and
I think you were 12-2 because I think I was 11-3. Yeah,
and
And you
you
came
know,
second.
I
and your
just
buddy Riley
got
came first, and his team's stacked.
I just got cute, bro. I got cute.
You got cute.
And it hurts. It hurts. I was praying you'd beat me by more than 6 points. So
Yeah.
at least, you
Yeah.
know, it wouldn't sting as less that defensive pickup.
Right.
But you didn't. It was 3.
Yeah.
And
Alternatively,
Keenan Allen is a terrible player to be rooting against when the Chargers just decide that he's their entire offense.
I felt pretty good going into to him being our last player on the board. I did feel pretty good about it, but
you throwing your reverse psychology.
I just was trying for some reverse jinxes.
I know how it works.
I may in the chat have acted like I was paying less attention than I was. I may have tried to throw a few.
It's so unlike you to downplay things and not get excited.
I came very close to starting Dak Prescott over Justin Fields out of spite to see like would he be the one to like really put you away. And had I started him, it would have been a no contest because Dak had a hell of a day.
Yeah,
but
can I just vent about Fields real quick? Yeah, that you just brought that up.
Please.
I'm pretty sure that the tank was full on in Chicago this week because they completely reverted back to their offense of week 4.
Yeah, they just decided not to win that game.
They were like, bro, we're not Justin. Don't fucking run the ball.
Scramble.
Because there was like 5 times, bro, where it was like the prototypical Fields play where you saw like a little space in front of him and he threw like a dump out to the tight end. You're like, whoa.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think less so the tank and more maybe like the idea of like, can you just like let's just practice some down throws and not get murdered. Yeah. You know, obviously we're the second worst team in the NFL right now on record, but we've looked like we could maybe win some games. And maybe if we go get like that Georgia defensive lineman that we've been eyeing up, I forget his name.
With today's news, bro, maybe Devontae Adams wants to stab Green Bay in the back.
I'd take him in a second. I mean, he needs a clear number 1. Justin Fields is the thing. And I don't think Chase Claypool is going to be that, but he could be a great number 2. He needs a clear number 1 because like all the best guys have clear number 1s. Keenan Allen being one of them. Sorry.
Thanks.
But anyway, listen, I don't want to brag. I did enjoy beating you in the semifinal, A, because you were being a little bit of a cunt about your record at the start of the season, and B, you were a massive cunt about every trade I tried to propose to you. So it was satisfying to me that it was you.
But see, those trades wouldn't have made that much of a difference in the end because both the guys we were going to trade went off.
Was Fournette and Keenan Allen.
That's what it came down to.
It's interesting how that poetic justice sort of played out. But I enjoyed it. As stressful as it was, I do hope that I win only because that would mean 3 years in a row, some representative of this We Talk About Sports, We Know What We're Talking About podcast has won our fantasy football league when we only make up half the league. So
I have to say, Riley's pretty confident. Just to let you know.
I imagine he would be, although, because I mean, he has the best record in our league, but I at the same time, he put up a fucking turgid performance against Mike. I mean, that was the battle of who was the world's tallest midget in that scenario. But listen, we move on from our very niche conversation about our specific fantasy football league all the way through to, I think it's time, if it's not the final week, full disclosure, listeners and viewers of the YouTube at home, I was declaring this the last week of the power rankings today in the chat. But that's only because I forgot that they added a week to the NFL season. So we will be back next week with the final power rankings, but this is the penultimate, the second to last.
You had me really sad for a second, man.
Yeah. No, I know. It's going to be good because we're going to still talk about football during the playoffs. It's fine. It's not as if the podcast shuts down. It's just got a different name. I do think, though, this will be the last round of official cross-offs. And I think we need, honestly, Bob, I really think we need to be ruthless here. I think that we're going to call it cross-offs. Like, this team is not advancing. Advancing a playoff round. Okay. I think should be, because then we're crossing off everybody but 2 teams or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're not going to make it. Yeah. I think they're not going to make it out of one playoff round. And I think there might not be that many left, to be quite honest with you. But, We're going to do it, and it's going to be cool. So I think usually traditionally, now that we've established some traditions here on Missing the Points Power Ranking Show, I do traditionally start with the AFC South, as they have been easy to cross off teams.
Could we just cross them all off? Could we just?
Are you ready to cross the Jags off?
They're the only ones that I
because they're going to win their division.
They deserve to be, especially with maybe Derrick Henry a little banged up again.
So who would they play if?
So it would be,
who would they play right now?
Who's 2? Cincinnati.
Yeah, so they're not making it out of a playoff round. They're just not.
If it was,
I know it's heartbreaking because, especially with their resurgence, the fact that Trevor Lawrence is a legitimately good quarterback, and I think he's sort of proven that to all of us. I don't know, man. For me, I just don't see them winning a playoff game. I think it's been a fun ride. I think the second half of their season has been great. I think that they're going to win the AFC South with one of the worst records of any divisional winner. But yeah. Can we cross them off? Can we cross on? I think we can.
I'm pretty sure we can. Yeah.
Okay, so we're crossing off the Jags. Yeah. The Titans are gone already. The Colts are gone already. The Texans are gone already. So goodbye, sayonara, see you later, and good luck to the AFC South. We hardly knew ye. Godspeed, and we'll see you next year for another horrific 18 weeks of football. Moving on to the AFC North. The Bengals are obviously going to win that division now at this point, especially with the Ravens' struggles with Lamar, although the Ravens are definitely going to make the playoffs. We already canceled the Steelers. We already crossed off the Browns.
Oh, wait. Let's rewind. My bad. The Jags would play the Ravens if it ended today, because they wouldn't be the 7 seed. They'd be the 4 seed because they win their fucking division. It doesn't matter that their record sucks. So
okay, we're uncrossing off the Jags.
We're uncrossing them, right? Because they could definitely beat the fucking Ravens. No doubt about it. Okay, yeah, so uncross them. Sorry to interrupt. We
we crossed the Ravens off last week. So we can't have them both crossed off. We just can't. One of them has to win that game. So I'm taking the Jags.
Might have to. Do we have to uncross it? We'll keep going with what you were doing.
No, fuck them. Fuck the Ravens. They're horrible. They gave Lamar Jackson absolutely no help. They lost a bunch of embarrassing games despite him getting them into great positions to win them. He's a legitimately good quarterback. I understand that his deep ball statistics aren't great, but he's getting better and better, and they're not putting a good team around him. It might be time to move on from the Harbaugh connection. Who knows what's happening down there? I mean, this is the worst anyone's ever spoken about a 10-5 team at this point in the season, to be quite honest with you. But I think the issues are there for all to see.
Yeah, it's pretty blatant.
I mean, sorry, Baltimore fans. At least I pronounced your city how you do, and I love The Wire. I've watched it
it's a great fucking
twice. So, I'm sorry, guys, but it's over. It's over. We're uncrossing the Jags and recrossing the Ravens. The Steelers are already gone. The Browns are long gone. Mm-hmm. I'm glad their gamble on Deshaun Watson didn't work out. Maybe it does next year when they get a little time with him, but it doesn't look like it is.
He's statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Worse than Russ?
He started playing. Yeah, it's him and Russ. They're competing for the most washed up guy that was an MVP candidate 2 years ago.
Crazy. It's crazy how the world turns. Yeah. All right, so the Bengals are going to win the AFC North. I think we have that pretty firmly in hand. And I mean, when we get to the actual power rankings, there might be a shout for them to go all the way. So the Broncos have been crossed off essentially since they mortgaged their future for a guy completely washed as my car. The Raiders are gone. They're starting fucking Jarrett Stidham this weekend. It was a rumor I heard. I don't know if is it. Can we talk for a second? Was that season Derek Carr's fault? I don't think he's amazing by any stretch. I probably wouldn't have him in my top 10 on his
definitely not. Day. It's definitely not his fault.
But I don't think it's his fault. And it's McDaniels is benching him, and it seems like a ploy to me to shift blame. And it's very clearly been McDaniels.
And it's a move to put the eyes on the future and not focus on as much of what a failure this season, because one of the reasons I saw was that they're trying to save him for a potential trade, to the Indianapolis Colts, obviously.
Sure. What do you get in return? Is he going to start over?
Second round pick, third round
that's
pick?
What I mean. Is he going to start over in Vegas?
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
Do you start over with Josh McDaniels? Do you trust him to lead your franchise to the next rebuild for the next 3 to 5 years? I don't.
You don't.
Man, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough look over there. From what they look like on paper, you know, it's tough too because it's like you have Devontae Adams, a guy who's just being wasted, like his career just trickling away in Oakland at this point. I mean, I guess you can blame him for some of the moves earlier, but it's sad for me to see because I think he is actually the most talented wide receiver in the NFL.
But a guy like him, you're right, where it's like, his peak isn't gonna be 8 to 10 years. It's gonna be like a 5 to 7 year span because he's just
based
a
on
freak,
how he plays.
You know what I mean? He's a freak. So yeah, agree.
It's tough.
Agreed.
It's a little sad.
He looked good in Chicago.
He would look fucking great in Chicago. Holy shit! Don't even. I couldn't even start to imagine that. We have some salary cap though. And I think you can trust Fields at this point to go and get him
And he doesn't like the Packers, bro. Just saying.
No, he doesn't.
He
does not. Also, it's like you could almost do like when Kyler first got his big weapon, where it's like he's better than Kyler at this point, I think. But I think you could just be like, dude, if you're in trouble, you can just toss it up to that guy.
Just throw it to him. Yeah, bro.
It's really not a problem. Anyway, stop getting me fucking derailed with fantasies about like the Justin Fields Devontae Adams connection.
That's what this is about, bro.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ! I'm gonna fucking think about
that. I jerk off to Justin Fields highlights. So
I don't. not I. Allow me to clutch my pearls here. The Los Angeles, I almost always call them the San Diego Chargers.
San Antonio.
There's a lot of names to remember, man. We do all the sports here on Missing the Point. And I'm not getting any younger. The Los Angeles Chargers, I would call them the resurgent Los Angeles Chargers. I think Herbert doubters beware. I think him getting his weapons back. I think the fact that they seem to have sort of stopped listening to the bad advice from the sidelines and just letting Justin Herbert fucking cook. I think that the Chargers sort of look like what we thought they were going to look like at the start of the season. But we'll get to that in the power rankings. We're certainly not crossing them off. I know that they have a 9-6 record, and we almost crossed them off at one point during the season. But we're actually going to talk about them when we get to the PRs, believe it or not. The Chiefs obviously not crossing off. Jets, we crossed them off, and I believe you put it back on the. Did you put them back on the fucking power rankings?
Listen,
no, the Giants.
The Giants are on it. The Jets, I think they have to that bottom. So the Dolphins right now are the 7 seed. So I don't think they're going to advance around. So maybe we can.
I'm happy to cross the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Jets off right now.
Yeah. You ready to cross the Dolphins off?
Well, I mean, think about it like this. Put it this way. The Jags are 7-8. They're going to win their division. Mm-hmm. Next team after is the Titans. They're 7-8. They're not going to make the playoffs. The Ravens are 10-5. They're not going to win their division, but they're 10-5. So they're going to win the play. They're going to get to the playoffs. The Chargers are now 9-6 and probably going to win their last 2 games. They'll probably make it to the playoffs. Who's going to get to
Chargers are in the playoffs.
They're in.
Yeah, they're in. So
the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Jets are basically mathematically eliminated from getting in at this point. We're a week away.
It's between 7 get in now. So it's between the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Pats, which is hilarious that it's all the teams in that.
So it
division.
Has to be one of the 3.
So it has to be one of those 3, or I think there's someone else that's in it still.
The Titans, no.
I think the Titans can still get it too. Yeah,
the Steelers.
They're all 7-8, and I think the Steelers are mathematically alive too, man. Yeah,
they're in
all those teams are still in the hunt.
Those teams are bad though.
Yeah, really bad.
At this point,
really bad.
I'd be kind of pulling for the Dolphins to do it. I'm not really sure what the fuck happened to them. Can we talk about it since they've dropped out of the power rankings?
Yeah, for sure. Tua lost it.
Did he just get figured out, or did he lose his mind?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, it was ever since, I think it was it against the Chargers? I think it was against the Chargers where he went like 8 of 28 or some stupid shit like that. Yeah.
He started looking like the guy we all kind of knew he would look like eventually, but with them, that threshold cross where we were like starting to believe that maybe he had been like fixed.
I saw a tweet the other day that was like about McDaniel. It was like he was doing his dance wearing that, like, I want it to be colder shirt that week. Remember that whole thing? And And it was like, is he more of a gimmick coach? Are we sure he's a
Oh
good
my
head
God, he
coach?
was your favorite fucking thing,
Or
sliced
no,
bread a
but
couple
like
weeks ago. You turned on him
it
already?
just no, it just got me thinking that like even if you're a good coach, like Rex Ryan is technically a good football coach, but eventually like his antics and like him being like this different kind of figure got old because they're losing. If the Dolphins lose out and miss the playoffs, right? So they were in the fucking driver's seat, bro. They were in first place, weren't they? 8-4,
Yes.
and now they're 8-7.
Yeah, and
So
they've lost 3 on the bounce. They're in a full skid.
so like you know, just based off of the history of the Miami Dolphins, if they miss out, bro, is his job safe? Like
Yeah, it is. Come
it is,
on.
right? Okay.
I mean, honestly, I would imagine just the attendance numbers that I don't like really necessarily have in front of me have likely secured his place for
Okay,
next
so
season.
the blame's got to shift to Tua because you can't have that big of a collapse and not have a scapegoat,
So
right?
what do? You go get Tom Brady.
I feel like there's a move. Yeah, there's a move, whether it's Lamar Jackson or something
Tom
like
Brady
that,
goes and
because
plays in an AFC
it's
East divisional
especially
rival to the
now
Patriots. Does he do that?
I think it's more Lamar Jackson. No, I feel like it's Lamar. Lamar's meant for the goddamn Miami
He
Dolphins.
fits so well
He,
there.
he's meant for that team, man.
Can you imagine him with those two fucking with Waddle and
Oh my God, bro. No, I don't even want to think about that.
there'd be videos coming out of the 3 of them racing, it would just be like insane.
Change their logo to the Roadrunner.
It would be the fastest NFL team ever assembled.
Ever. Without a doubt, yeah.
That's crazy.
But I mean, with Tua's health concerns too, like, listen, I don't care what you say. That man gets another concussion in the next 2 years, he has to retire. You know what I mean? It's like he's at the point now where it's like Troy Aikman territory, and who was the other guy retired for concussions? I think Steve Young retired because of a concussion.
Yeah.
But like he's in that territory now where it's like you can't he's at what, 4 concussions in a matter of 11 months? It's brutal, man. Brutal.
It's bad. I would worry about him. I even saw a video of him hitting his head in one of the last 2 games. I forget which one.
I think it was the last game.
Was it the last
Where he
game?
got
And it like
tackled and his head
and it kind of didn't. Nobody said anything about it in the broadcast, and
He
it was
kept
like,
playing.
oh shit, yeah, he hit his head again. It's like, I don't know, but I've seen athletes, maybe not in the NFL though. It's like really tough. Like, you remember Crosby was getting concussions all the time for the Penguins.
He took like a year off, remember?
Yeah,
Or
and
not,
he figured it
but,
out.
like,
Like
yeah,
he's
he
he
did figure it out.
continued to he went on to have like an even better second half of his career than first half. So I mean, hockey, you do take hits. I don't know if it's as bad as the NFL though. Like, also it's like, at what point do you risk it?
It's more like whiplash in the NFL,
Right.
where it's like,
But at what point do you stop risking it? Where it's like, yeah, all right, like I want to have a good NFL career, but you're going to be eating through a fucking straw when you're 43.
Muhammad Ali, bro. Like, no,
It's bad. It's bad, man.
I love him, but like,
Junior
no one wants
Seau.
to be that. Right. No one wants to be that.
I wouldn't want to see it. If it was up to me, I'd tell him to retire if that was the case.
Yeah.
Or maybe take a year off and see what he can do. But those hits that he took where they kept him on the field at the start of the season, that was bad. That was bad.
Well, that's really what it comes down to, is like that was so bad that like these hits are even worse now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like your brain's already kind of mushy, and you make it.
I feel like it's. I'm not a doctor, but I feel like it's amount of concussions adding up. Like, you can get 1 or 2 and you're fine, but if you get that like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th bad one, you start to lose cognitive function. Your brain starts to get fucked up. And you only get 1 of those.
We can. I think we can cross them off though, because I don't think 2 is going to be the same, right? And they play the Jets this week, so the Jets are playing for a lot. Dolphins are reeling, so the Jets beat the Dolphins, right? That's done for them. And I don't think the Jets, the Dolphins, or the Patriots are beating, because it's going to be one of these 3 teams.
Yeah,
the Bills, the Bengals, or the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right. So we can cross all 3 of them off, I think, after that lengthy discussion.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's move on to the NFC South. Falcons been gone. Yet again, you have not let me last week can't cross off the Panthers and the Saints. You have not let me do it.
I think we can cross the Saints off. They're playing the Eagles this week. I think I don't see that going well.
Sans Jalen Hurts though, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean,
and plus, like if you're the Eagles at this point, do you just rest everybody?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't clinched yet though. So if they lose this game,
but they're 2 ahead of you guys. They're 2 ahead of you guys.
Technically,
yeah, you're right. You got to go beat the Saints. No, you're right.
And the Titans are throwing tomorrow's game, so the Cowboys are winning tomorrow, and it's just a matter.
No, you're right. You're right. They got to go beat the Saints. You're right.
So they got to go win that game. So the Saints.
Panthers.
I think the Panthers are going to win that. I mean, I think the Panthers win that. I think the Panthers are better than the Bucs, man. I think the Panthers beat the Bucs.
Bucs have Tom Brady.
But the Bucs are every week they're so bad. I know they won again this week. Okay, I know. But they're they're the worst out of everyone that you watch every Sunday. Is there a more painful watch than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? There isn't.
I don't love watching
it's
the
so
Tampa Bay
bad.
Buccaneers. I really don't like watching the Cardinals. I'll say that. But
that game was so painful.
Yeah, I don't love watching the Bucs. All right, fine. We'll leave the Panthers. We'll leave the Bucs because the Bucs are the first in their division anyway, so we have to leave them.
And the Cowboys have never beaten Tom Brady. So
ever, never once,
not once.
Oh my God, this could be your year.
Not one time.
So you see them in the playoffs, right? If they win the division,
it's us versus whoever wins the NFC South. We play them, yeah.
Dude, they need to not let that information spread around the camp in Dallas because, like, good God, that would be so upsetting if you guys lost to the fucking Bucs in the first round. I wouldn't put it past you. The Bears have been gone. The Packers are the Packers.
Still in it. They're still in it, bro. They're still fucking in it. It's so sad.
We crossed them off like 5 weeks ago.
But so we did, but at the same time, so the Commanders keep losing. So the Commanders are 7-7-1. The Seahawks are 7-8. The Lions are 7-8, and now the Packers are fucking 7-8, man. So if the Commanders lose next week, and the Lions lose, and the Packers win, the Packers jump into the fucking playoffs.
Whatever. They're not on the power rankings, and that's the last we're going to say about them today.
That's so fucking stupid. That team.
The Lions
are
so sort of
horrible.
surging right now. And they're going to play the Bears this weekend, and I feel like the Bears are going to like look like they can beat them and then lose.
Yeah.
So the Lions are probably going to be 8-8 after this weekend.
They got fucking manhandled by the Panthers. So manhandled.
Well, they're just incredibly flawed. Like they have a lot of good players, but they have an incredible flaws throughout their team.
Yeah.
So they're trick or treat. Like you can either have them put up 56 points, or you can have them get fucking destroyed by a very average Panthers team. Like there's no in between. So because it's a divisional game, I can't make the call. And if the Packers are 7-8 and still in it, then the Lions are 7-8 and still in it. The Vikings are going to the playoffs, but I would almost cross them off depending on who they're playing, to be honest. But let's leave them. The Cardinals gone. The Rams, as much as the Rams have looked a little better, they won one game. As much as they look better last week, and Baker Mayfield, whatever, let's not start fucking throwing leaflets out from the rafters. I think that's just enough for them to go with Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback next season and have it go terribly wrong. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, you don't think McVay can fix him?
I mean, he's got that
fixer. He's
got that ability. I just think it's like, well, what do you do with Matt Stafford and his $1 billion contract?
Yeah, unless he retires. I think he has like a spinal injury, doesn't he? I don't know.
Retires? Do you think, is that a rumor?
I think it is. I don't know. Maybe not.
You're shitting me, really? That's
his injury is pretty brutal, man. I
mean, he was getting hit a lot this season. There's some other fuckers that need to cop for that if he's got an injury that bad. I knew it was bad. I didn't think it was.
He's not going to. No, he's not going to retire. There's actually a report saying he's not. So that's how rumored it was that he might, but he's not. Yeah, he says not. He's got a spinal contusion.
No breaking news here. Folks. No. We can't really cross the Seahawks off either, as much as I want to. 49ers are probably my pick from the NFC to win the Super Bowl. So we're not.
They're who we thought they were, right?
We let them off the hook.
Yeah.
The Commanders, they've lost 2 in a row now. When they were 7-5.
Listen, they're starting Carson Wentz. They're crossed off. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad we
they're
said
crossed
that.
off.
Because honestly, like when they were 7-5 and there was something maybe going on down there, and Robinson was, the rookie running back was having a good couple of weeks and stuff was happening. I was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was cool with the Commanders. Stupid fucking name still. Better than the Redskins, but still stupid.
The commies. The change from the Redskins to the commies.
The commies would be cool. If they called themselves the communists, I would be into that. It would immediately become my second team for political reasons. The Giants, we have to fucking talk about on the power rankings this week, which I'm mad at you about. So we're not crossing them off. The Cowboys, we're not crossing them off, even though apparently we're going to lose to Tom Brady in Tampa Bay first week of the playoffs. And the Eagles were probably the favorites. So, that was an intense round of cross-offs.
It was.
Yet again, we didn't cross off the people I wanted to. The playoffs are going to have to do that for us at this point. But
it's like trading with me. It's fucking impossible. I'm like, well, you
know, you don't want to look stupid next week, right? Because we have had a couple of uncrosses now. We had to uncross the Packers, and I uncrossed the fucking Jags in this show.
I don't like uncrossing. I don't like doing it.
I don't either. I don't like unringing bells on this show. I really don't.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
I like putting genies back in bottles and any other idiom you can think of.
It's the worst too when we got to uncross them because other teams won't fucking win. You know what I mean? It's
like they won't get put out of their misery.
Yeah, if the Dolphins would win a fucking game, half these teams would be crossed off.
Yeah.
If the fucking Titans would win a game, the Jags would be crossed off.
Would you say the second half of the NFL season has been a little disappointing compared to how we started it?
I just think there's a lot of teams that because there's a lot of exciting teams in that first half.
Yeah,
who we were kind of pumped we're good again. Like
there's Jets, just a lot less teams that
Dolphins.
I want to watch now. I feel like the first 8 weeks or 9 weeks, there was a lot of teams I was down to watch. Like you said, the Dolphins. I was down to watch the Jets. I was down to watch the Giants. I was down to watch the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I was down to watch the Lions.
Agreed. Yep.
I was still down to watch the fucking Bucks at that point. The Titans was fine if Derrick Henry was playing well.
Yeah.
The Ravens were fun to watch. These are all teams I don't want to fucking see anymore at all. I don't want to see any. I don't want anything to do with them anymore.
Me either.
So I think that it's just you have to be a little bit more specific in your watching these weekends.
Yeah, I mean, even you think about this past week, man. You look at the teams that just laid absolute fucking duds.
Yeah,
all over the fucking week is like the Dolphins laid a fucking dud.
Yeah,
the Jets scored 3 points against the fucking Jaguars at home.
Right. I think we peaked that week. I kept saying we were gonna have the best red zone week so far. It was like week 14 or 15.
Week 14, yeah.
And we peaked because every game had.
It was like when
every single game had something to it.
When the Jets played the Vikings that week, I think, yeah.
But I mean, we did say we'll know a lot after this, and we did.
It's true, we did.
But it was kind of disappointing what we found out about a lot of teams. It wasn't like, oh, this team's good now. It was like, no,
a lot of frauds.
We knew it.
There's a lot of frauds out there.
A lot of frauds this season. Whole lot of frauds this season. But at least we're in agreement. We've had pretty bloody NFL seasons on this podcast in the past where there's teams you think are frauds or I think are frauds that are not or are, and we are killing each other over it. But we've been pretty much in agreement this season, probably because we talk consistently every week now. Like with the power ranking show that we're like, yeah, we got this.
It's pretty. I think it's more blatant this year. I think there's more.
We did say the Ravens were frauds in the exact same minute. Like it was like the same minute we both were like, these fucking guys suck. Because it was the week after I was like, maybe they're good.
It was the Broncos week, remember? Yeah. It was they lost. Who did they lose to? They lost the Jets. They lost to the Jets. I think 1 week.
I think they lost to the Steelers.
Yeah, they lost to someone that made them fraudulent, and then the next week was like they have to beat the Broncos. If they don't beat the Broncos, they're the biggest frauds in the face of the earth. And it was like 10-3 Broncos in the fourth quarter. We were both like, nope. No, that's.
I mean, it's one of the things I like the best about you, Bob, is that you can simultaneously in one NFL season say, if you don't beat the Broncos, you're the biggest frauds in the NFL, and then also start the Broncos defense as your championship semifinal defense against me, and lose by less than 6 points, which they accrued you -6. They could have gotten you 1.5 points.
Bro, you know what's so fucked up is at one point I got a notification that was like you're not starting a defense right now. And because I picked them up and they were still on my bench, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta start them, and I put them in. And if I just didn't fucking start them, I would have beat you.
Oh, I know. You know what? I'll tell you something even more upsetting is that because Saturday was Christmas Eve, I was really thrown off by the Saturday games, and I did not set my lineup. And I looked at the fantasy football, and you have to remember I'm 3 hours behind you. So I looked at the fantasy football app and I was like, ooh, got away with one there.
That's lucky. That's lucky.
I mean, I probably
no.
would have just gone like, I
No.
mean, at this point in the season, you pretty much have who you have, unless you're getting cute with your defenses, with like some people like to do. I just have the Dallas Cowboys defense, who are quite consistently good. I don't know if you've heard about the Dallas Cowboys this season, but
They gave up 34 points. They did. I mean, they didn't give up
6 points. They got me 6, not
51.
-6.
Listen. If the Broncos are literally a top 10, we don't.
When we get to the Cowboys, can we talk about how Treyvon Diggs is just getting continually fucking butchered every week? Like, what is happening to him? All right. Anyway, moving on. So we're not there yet because they are in the power rankings still, and well deserved.
Me off.
I mean, it's just us here. Number 10
mad tonight. Yeah.
Number 10 on this made me mad. Number 10 on the power rankings with a bullet. The New York Giants. What is there to say about the New York Football Giants? I want to cross them off. Convince me not to cross them off. They're not good. They're not going to win shit.
I mean, they have the best coach.
They have the best coach.
Top 3 coach in the NFL, right? He might be the best.
It's a lot more fun to watch awesome wide receivers than it is to watch awesome coaches. There's no one on that team, Bob.
I know.
They got one guy.
But who the fuck else am I putting in the spot?
I honestly probably would.
The Jaguars. The Jaguars.
I probably would have put the Jags.
They were there. They were there.
Or kept the Dolphins with like the faint hope that maybe they come back and see some sort of success.
You can't put the Dolphins in the top 10 after throwing 3 picks in the fourth quarter against the Packers.
The Giants are just so uninteresting, you know. I'm just gonna move right along.
But they're kind of good. They're kind of good because
what's kind of good?
If they play, you don't think they can beat the Vikings in the first round? They can absolutely beat the Minnesota Vikings in the first round of the playoffs.
If they do, I'll be so happy. Like, I really will. But the problem is, it makes for a worse playoffs when shit like this happens.
It does. You're right. But would you feel more comfortable betting on Daniel Jones and Brian Dabble or Kirk Cousins in the first round of the playoffs?
If I'm being totally honest with you, and I know this goes against everything I've ever said on this podcast ever,
Kirk Cousins.
But if I'm really putting my money on it, I'm not betting on Kirk Cousins. I'm betting on the fact that there's like 9 studs on that offense, and it's the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
And I just think that the Vikings aren't going to get handled by the Giants. They're going to get handled by like the 49ers or the Cowboys. Like the Vikings, as much as they are frauds and the things we've said about them are frauds, this is in comparison to the teams you have to talk about in the same breath as them, which is the other best teams in the NFC or the league as a whole. And I think that like they're still better than the Giants.
Yep.
Like, as much as like they're not close to the 49. Like, this is the biggest gap, right? It's like if you did the power rankings of these teams we were talking about, just these teams, it'd be like the elite tier, the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Eagles. And then you'd have this middle tier that just has the Vikings in it. And then you would have teams like the Giants and, you know, and like these other NFC teams that are basically fucking also rans. And it's like, I'd love to see it. I'd be happy to see it. I really would. It would make me laugh to have the Vikings have the season that they've had and then just crash out to Dable's like ability to just outthink
so many haters wrong.
Yeah, no, totally. Right. I would love to see it. And also what I would like to see is for that to happen, because then every free agent in the NFL next season, and there are quite a few. We should do a free agency talk at some point after.
We definitely will.
But every free agent in the NFL then goes, oh man, I want to go to fucking New York, because then they're in New York.
They're going to the Giants, and Dabble's the man.
And Dabble's great.
Man.
And like, there's 4 quarterbacks that could like go there and actually make that team a contender. You know, so. That I'd like to see, but as of right now, I don't know. I sound like a hater, but as of right now, I'm just like,
right
not
now,
into them.
I'm looking at the matchups again. They play it. It'd almost be better off being a 7 seed. You play the 49ers if you're the 6 seed, and you play.
They're gonna get fucking
the Vikings
by the 49ers.
Yeah, anyone's getting talked by the 49ers. I'm
crazy. Third string quarterback.
About that
crazy.
Team. It's wild.
Can't wait to talk about them.
Yeah, keep going.
The Ravens, we kind of talked about already. Number 9.
Yeah. Listen, I mean.
Let's talk about it in the context of, what do you think needs to happen in Baltimore if they keep Lamar? If Lamar Jackson stays in Baltimore, decides that that's where he needs to be, doesn't want to abandon the city. I'm not sure what else is keeping him there other than the fan base, maybe. But if he stays there and he becomes the rest of his career franchise QB in Baltimore, that's how they say it down there, Baltimore. If he does
Is
that,
it D?
yeah, they do. I swear to God, they do.
Okay.
People from Maryland do that. It's a thing. So if they do that, what do they need to do to become winners? Because I think people are going to consistently still blame Lamar.
Get him a fucking wide receiver. Get him a goddamn wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's
Devontae?
all he's missing, bro. I mean, they keep trying to get these guys that are fast, like little shifty guys, Rashad Bateman.
He's got probably the second
Hollywood
best,
Brown.
third best tight end in the league.
Yeah, bro.
And
If you got him a true one, it's stupid what he could do.
But is it easier for him to go somewhere else to find that at this point?
Yes, it is. I think he's gone. I think he's out of there.
I would be if I was him, to be honest with you.
It's like the Red Sox and Xander Bogaerts, honestly.
Why would you stay?
Why would you stay? They've continuously shown you that they don't want to extend like a big offer to you after everything you've done for him. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you want to stay?
If he leaves that team immediately becomes like a 3-win team next season.
Instantly.
It'll be one of the biggest like catastrophes in the history of managing an NFL franchise.
Would they be able to bring in another rushing quarterback and try and mirror the same kind of?
Who do you go get? Geno Smith? Maybe they're a 5-win team.
No, yeah, I don't know if Geno's. I feel like it would have to be like a goddamn Mariota or like. But Mariota fucking blows. He sucks.
None of those guys are Lamar Jackson, dude.
No, you're right.
People talk shit about Lamar Jackson, but like he's not in the same breath as those guys. Like he's one of the most athletic players in the history of the game.
The biggest wide receiver splash they've made in the last since they drafted Lamar, right? Is signing torn Achilles Des Bryant.
Yeah.
2.5 years ago. Like, can you think of any wide receiver that they've gone out?
Why didn't they go get Amari Cooper if he was on the fucking table in the offseason? That's a no-brainer.
Why'd you get him? You're just trying to piss me off tonight.
No, I'm not. I'm serious. Like he ended up in fucking Philadelphia.
He ended up in Cleveland.
In Cleveland. And you're looking at
a fifth round pick.
I mean, he's right Amari there. Cooper. He's right there instead of just wasting away and fucking whatever. It's annoying. He should have stayed in Dallas, to be honest. Now I'm trying to piss you off. All right, so moving on to number 8 and the Los Angeles Chargers. They could win a game in the playoffs. They could win 2.
Yes.
They could make a run.
He's never been in the playoffs, so we don't know.
I feel like they're the evil twin, like from another dimension of the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I feel like Herbert and.
So funny you say that. Right now, that's the blockbuster matchup of the weekend. I would love in that first round.
I'm bringing the nachos for that one.
Yeah, that's the game right there, man. Or Chiefs Chargers. If it ends up that Bengals jump the Chiefs, which is possible.
That would suck though, because I feel like the Chiefs are just gonna scorch the Chargers.
But Bengals Chargers is a good game. That's
Bengals Chargers is a good game though.
That's like looking forward to the future. That's like another one of those like legacy matchups. You know what I mean? Because you know that's coming again. It wouldn't be the first Herbert Burrow in the playoff or the last. Because like
essentially what you're trying to figure out right now, and I think a lot of like pundits on ESPN are trying to figure this out. You're trying to figure out like who is who in this era. Like when all the dust settled in our previous generation of NFL quarterbacks, you had a pretty solid hierarchy for a while with arguments available of who the top 5 QBs were.
It was like tier 1 was by himself. And then there
was I mean, even before Brady like established himself, the funnest debate era for this was when it was like you had Brady, Breeze, Manning, and Roethlisberger. And you knew Roethlisberger wasn't one, and Rodgers a little bit later. You had those 5 guys say, right? And it's like after Breeze establishes that he was definitely the right choice over Phillip Rivers. And you have those guys, and it's like there's still a debate. Then Brady emerges as the clear number 1. Manning really is the clear number 2. Then Rodgers, but it's like there's a debate, right?
Yeah.
So now you're asking yourself, well, who is who of that list? And there's a chance that Justin Herbert, in my head, could be Peyton Manning. But there's also a chance that he could be Ben Roethlisberger. Do you know what I mean? Like not similar styles, but like as far as like where we rank them or he could be off the top 5, depending on like what happens. It's all still up in the air. But you look at Joe Burrow and like what he's done, he still didn't win a Super Bowl. right? Like he
Yeah,
went, and we're
yeah.
all impressed with him on the recency bias thing, but he very easily could just fade from the consciousness.
I feel like he's more Big Ben. He's more Big Ben
He's
than
got, but
anyone.
Big Ben won too.
Yeah, but he was like that tough. That you're right. Big Ben did win too. So
You know,
yeah.
and it's like, to me, it's like
But he
if
got there
Josh
early.
Allen,
He got there early. That's where I think it compares. Where he got to
yeah,
that Super Bowl his rookie year.
yeah. I also think, like, you look at Josh Allen and you're like,
I
that
guess he's Big Ben too,
conversation's
huh?
yeah, well, that conversation's gonna be filled with pressure next season if he doesn't win this year. Like, that conversation's immediately gonna be like, is Josh Allen gonna do it? Because I already started saying it at the start of the season. He doesn't get compared to Pat Mahomes right now. Like, I understand why people do it because it's the only thing available really at the moment, but he doesn't. He's played like two less games than Pat Mahomes in the NFL. Did you know that?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
sorry, dude. It's
And
not a comparison at the moment.
I feel like if anyone's gonna be on the Mahomes level, it's Burrow. If you're asking me to put anyone there, it is Burrow because
Especially because Burrow like has Mahomes in
well
big games.
that, but also like I trust Burrow way more. If we're doing like a quarterback's power rankings, which I look at
Sure.
these like I'll
Let's
fucking
do it.
it's Mahomes is one. There's no
Clear.
doubt about that, right?
Clear.
There's no doubt. But
But
like
you're
if you're
putting
asking
Burrow at
me,
2 over
I'm
Allen.
putting Burrow 2 over Allen.
You might be
Absolutely.
the only one in the country, but I'm inclined to agree with you.
Because listen, I look at it as like a risk reward with quarterback, and like when the shit comes to the grind, right? And you have a minute and a half to drive down the field, I want fucking Joe Burrow under center over Josh Allen because I think Josh Allen is more tempted to throw a pick, more tempted to force that ball in there. You know,
Well, I'll say this in Josh Allen's defense. I am actually inclined to agree with you. And as you know, like, this is sort of how I've thought about these guys for a few years now. But in Josh Allen's defense, like, they still haven't put a real offensive line in front of him. They still haven't really given him an established running game.
a real
Now,
run game. He is the run game.
he is the run game, which is fucking
is
stupid, though.
so
That's
stupid,
stupid. Like, way to like, as much as I
Singletary's
love
good,
watching
too.
Justin Fields this
Singletary's
year,
good too. Well, he's not bad.
yeah, but they don't have a line. They don't
Yeah.
have a line. And they don't think they need one because of how Josh Allen is. And it's like, as much as I love watching Justin Fields scramble, and it's a ton of fun, we're shaving 10 years off his career if we let him play like this every season. Like, it's not gonna work. So yeah, it's good right now, but we need to like this is to let him develop and then like have this in his back pocket. It's not gonna work if not, or equal, as long as he's like throwing the ball and he's protected. Josh Allen, same thing. We're gonna see a generational talent be essentially forced out of the league due to injury. He just is if they fail to protect him. And
yeah, they do more design runs for Josh Allen than they do for Singletary
right,
almost every week. You know
and
what I mean?
Singletary's
It's
not
like,
a bad running back.
yeah,
Well, there's 1,000 good running backs out there too. That's the other thing. I just think it's about blocking, and I think it's about the schemes they come up with. And I think that they oftentimes put Josh Allen in a position to make those decisions, and that's why you think that about him. You know what I mean? And I think it's because he's put in those positions a lot, and he's just trying to make a play to win the game. I wonder if people said the same shit about, I mean, a very different quarterback, but I wonder if people said the same shit about Brett Favre in like 1997.
yeah,
It's
possible.
I mean, I know he didn't go on to win like a fuck ton of Super Bowls, but he won one. And I think that if you looked at him from a certain angle at a certain time, you'd be like, I don't trust him to like win a game for you. But now if you look back on him, you go like, oh yeah, Brett Favre, one of the greats. Like, 2-minute drill, love it.
Yeah.
So it's just about like trusting that the Buffalo Bills can like put him in the position to have a healthy and sustainable career. I agree with you though at this point that I'm probably putting him behind Burrow. And then what, you got Herbert 4?
Herbert would be 4. Yeah.
Not Lamar.
If we're going talent wise and like his future in the NFL, I think he's 4. He's got to be.
Not Trevor Lawrence.
No,
hasn't done enough.
No.
He hasn't done enough yet.
Yeah.
Could
Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is threatening to break the top 10. I think. I think it's Herbert, and then after that,
Justin Fields.
I don't even know. I mean, do you still put TB in there? Do you still put
probably.
TB in the top 10?
Probably. We don't want to
right?
overreact to one bad season, right? It's like the first bad season he's ever had, essentially. Right. So I don't know. Probably. I mean, it depends what he does in the offseason if he comes back, but I don't know. Let's not do the fucking Tom Brady hour because it's just we're gonna have enough to talk about in the offseason with him. Moving right along, I think we talked about the Vikings enough already on this podcast and throughout the entirety of this fucking power ranking show. They've just been there like one of those like one of those pimples that's like really deep and you just can't get rid of it for like days and days. That's the Vikings in this year's power rankings to me.
So can I
go
listen,
ahead?
I've mostly agreed with you this season on the Vikings, right? Like I agree that deep down they really do look like frauds. They do. But at what point, right, can we say that they're just kind of clutch this year? You know, there's always that team that defies the odds, that like, you know, there's games they have no fucking business winning, and every goddamn week they just figure out a goddamn way to win. And that's just the Vikings this year, man. It's
to be honest,
every single week. It's even this week, right? They blew that game against the Giants. Blew it again. That was like the fourth time they've done this. But did you not kind of have a feeling when the Vikings were getting the ball back that they were going to complete a 45-yard pass to Justin Jefferson to get in the field goal range, and they were going to win that game?
Yeah, to me, I guess I just look at it completely differently. I look at, and this is probably to do with the fact that I have a divisional hate with them, and I really hate their quarterback, and like always have since he's gotten into the league. But
you don't
for
like
me,
that. You don't like that.
What?
You know the Kirk Cousins thing. I like that. You don't like that.
No, I don't like that. Okay. I'm not doing Kirk Cousins jokes. Fuck him. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Vikings. To me, it's like I'm always looking at and laughing that they're in that position in the first place with the kind of talent that they have on their team. It's like, oh, you're barely winning these games. That's how it looks to me. It's like you're barely fucking winning these games.
But at the same time, man, like there's so many teams with talent in the NFL that fucking blow shit.
Not that talent. They potentially have the best wide receiver in the NFL. They have Dalvin fucking Cook. They have a great line. They have a solid defense. Yeah. They have a guy who, if you didn't know who he was and you looked at his stats from this year, you would think he was a top 5 quarterback. Like it's not like you're shifting the standards on what we should be judging them on because they're barely winning games against teams that they should be blowing out. Like that's just the way it is to me, to be honest.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, in
the playoffs.
I was gonna say the playoffs reveal all. They reveal all. They're the great washer away of all the makeup and all the fraudulence. Like they're gonna come into a big game against a team. And it's like I said, I don't know if it's going to be the Giants, but oh my God, if they come up against the 49ers, they're going to get fucking manhandled. If it's a playoff game.
I kind of agree with you there.
And then it's going to be settled. And you can make this point until the cows come home once that happens. But to me, it'll have been settled. So
the cows, that's a funny transition.
Number 6, an ever increasing worry in Bobby's life. He intentionally turned his hat around as we
the star was too loud. The star was too loud for camera.
Should you turn it back around to the front though? Like, for this section of the podcast, like just as we get into this,
yeah.
Talk to me. This is the easiest part of the podcast for me every week because I get to just say, what's going on with them Cowboys there, Bob?
I don't know what the fuck's going on with their defense, man. I don't know what happened.
What's up with Treyvon Diggs, dude? Like he used to be good.
He's getting torched.
He's getting
every goddamn. There's at least
he's a highlight on the wrong end every week.
Every week, it's been that way for like the last 3-4 weeks.
He was one of the best one-on-one defensive backs in the league last year.
I don't know if Quinn's giving him more freedom, if like they're not coaching him up on it.
I think less.
I think too, they're telling him that he needs to make plays too because we're so short-handed in the secondary right now. Like Brown's out. There's a few other. Kelvin Joseph is the waste of a fucking roster space. He's the worst cornerback I've ever seen play football. But I gotta say, like as down as I am again about our defense, is kind of like the opposite at the beginning of the year. I'm that much up about our offense. Mm-hmm. Listen, we put 40 points on one of the best defenses in the league, and if T.Y. Hilton ends up actually being a good deep threat that Dak can just throw it up to, man, I think that adds a whole new element to that offense. I don't think there's anyone except for the fucking 49ers that I would be scared about playing in the playoffs at this point. I think even with Jalen Hurts, we beat the Eagles in the playoffs. I think it would be a closer. I guess it was a close game, but I think with that sprained shoulder, I just have a little more confidence after
I'm a
this
little
past week. After
suspicious of
seeing
what that injury actually is too.
me
Like they've been
too,
very
man.
fucking coy about that whole
And
thing.
Sirianni seems to be very, very weird about his reactions to asking if Hurts is going to play this week, if this and that. He's like, I feel like Hurts is
I
like
wouldn't.
is a
The thing is,
human.
I would be like, if it were me, I'd be like, no, we're wrapping them in cotton wool. We'll see in the playoffs, whatever happens. That would be like, it's just. I think I would just go one way or
Right.
the other.
I agree. I agree.
But you're like you said, they haven't clinched yet. We'll see what happens if they can win against the Saints without him this week. Because I wouldn't risk him. Like you don't.
If you win against the Saints, you don't see Jalen Hurts until their playoff game for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, right. Because otherwise, it's just stupid. Like, just
you
let him
don't do
heal up and try to make a run. Like, it doesn't matter if you finish a little bit worse off. It probably doesn't even matter if the Cowboys overtake them in that division. It probably doesn't.
Yeah.
Like compared to the risk, but I think they can go beat New Orleans without him, and it at least buys them another week, right?
Yeah.
But can I just say, by the way, like here's what I get. Like when I watch Treyvon,
I don't know what
Diggs,
happened to our defense.
He's a player I like a lot. I think he's a safety. I think he's a safety.
I think he's like a stinger safety. I don't think he's a full safety. I
think
like
if he wants a future in the NFL and consistently playing snaps, he's getting killed off the line against speedy good route runners.
The thing is he can when he commits to playing coverage and to not making the big play and not trying to cut the route and not gambling. He can stick with guys. He shuts down Jefferson when he plays him because his assignment.
No, I don't think it's a speed issue. I think he has a ton of athleticism. I just think like good route runners kill him.
It's exactly, and he gambles too much. He sees something.
That's
and
always going to be his game, Bob. That's always going to be his game. And I think as a like you said, as a stinger safety, or even as like just
trying
like
to think who you compare him to.
I think like. I mean, obviously he's not Ed Reed. Like, obviously
that's who I had in my head actually.
But like, if you just gave him that sort of freedom to like make a play on the ball, and you actually sort of said to yourself, you obviously can't do it at this point in the season. Like, obviously you got to just make it work. But if you said to yourself, he's got a green light to make a play on every single play, but from the safety position. So anytime he's like, he never gets put one-on-one with anybody. And he can make plays on balls underneath. And like, that's kind of how he was making plays last season from corner. Like he was reading the quarterback super well. And he would leave his assignment sometimes to go make a play on the ball, which you kind of can't do as a cornerback, You can't. If you guys, okay. So say you pedal it back and you say, okay, forget actually converting his position, which he has played, by the way, in college as a freshman, which feels like a long time ago now. So who knows? I mean, he was a wide receiver in high school, but I don't think he's going to be that. But what about just converting to a little bit of a mixed zone where he can let guys run off him a little bit more? Because I think that they sort of let him get found out constantly, where it's like he needs to be able to pass his guy off to the next defender. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I think he's not able to do that because he's supposed to stick with these guys and he's just getting fucking killed in the open field. It almost might not be fair to him what they're asking him to
do. That one play, the fourth down was fucking inexcusable. Inexcusable, man.
Yeah, but it's gonna get in his head if you keep letting him get fucking burned by the best receiver on the other team,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, the guys that the Eagles have, he's gonna be the reason you lose a game if they continue to play him like this.
But in the same breath, do the Eagles have anyone that can cover CeeDee Lamb? I don't know if they do. So I feel what's cool about this matchup.
Yeah, but they can throw like 9 different looks at you, though, is the problem.
Hint at everyone. The Eagles are number 5 on this list after their loss this week. I feel like them and the Cowboys, I feel like are neck and neck right there. And it's an inevitable collision course for these two teams, right? I mean, it's inevitable that they play each other in that divisional round. And what's fun is we don't know who really is better because
let me ask you this.
The Eagles beat us with Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
And we beat them with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
So both games so far are split, but it's
Yeah.
with backup quarterbacks on either side. So we haven't seen
you would have rather
Eagles Cowboys yet.
you would have rather have had the loss with the backup at the end of the season, though, right? Because to me, there's a lot of positives to take from the Eagles' performance against you guys. Like, they put up a lot of points.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would also say, like, let me ask you this honestly. Fully healthy Jalen Hurts, fully healthy Dak Prescott. Are you still putting your money on Dak to win you a game with how Jalen's been playing this year?
I think that's a lot closer, but I mean, if you're going, if I'm going to my other example of like 2 minutes, one of them has the ball, I pick Dak 100 times.
I feel like I'm betting on Dak to throw an interception in that situation at this point.
He's done it, but he's done it like 4 weeks in a row now, where the Cowboys put him in a position where he has to drive the entire length of the field to win the game for the Cowboys or tie the game, and he's shown up and done it. I mean, there was the pick against Jacksonville, I know, but the series before that, he drove down the field and tied the game. And then the game against the Texans, he drove 99 yards to win the game. And against the Eagles, he had another game-winning drive to win the game. So I feel like it gets overshadowed sometimes by like the star itself and like the Cowboys blowing it.
But that is the problem, is that jersey's too heavy for a lot of people. I mean, that's been the problem every single season. Like your owners / GM is too much of a presence. The history that your fans all seem to remember, because it was like the 90s, is always looming. And in Dak's defense, like, he didn't even really get a chance to suck, for a couple of years. Like, it was always just like, whoa, is he the guy? Is he the guy? It's the same question we're asking now. So we'll see. Regardless of what your defense looks like in the past couple of weeks, I think they're still filled with talent. Regardless of what your offense looks like in the past couple of weeks, they're still filled with talent. I'm very concerned about your coaching staff and their ability to lead your team to a championship. That's basically what I would say, because I think any kind of issues you're looking at this season happening in the latter half of the season, to me, is a direct reflection on them not being able to maintain the good and keep away the bad. Easy example, Tony Pollard. It's like that guy should be getting
25 carries every week.
80% of your touches, like in your running game, 85%. What does he get? 50, maybe on a good day?
Maybe on it, yeah.
40, So, and that's a no-brainer to anybody watching the Cowboys. Anybody watching the Cowboys.
Also, a big issue on this team is we do not have a wide receiver 2. And
your receiving core is tough. I honestly think Dak deserves more credit for what he's done with those guys, to be honest.
We, just to remind everyone out there, I said I've been preaching this all year, and it's the most egregious thing in the NFL. The Cowboys traded a 1,000-yard wide receiver right now for the worst, maybe one of the worst offenses in the league, Amari Cooper, for a 5th-round pick. Just to put that into perspective, the Tyreek Hill got traded for like 4 first-round picks.
Yeah. So did Russell Westbrook.
That's true, but there's a couple other wide receivers out there too. Who else got traded? Christian Kirk got signed to like a $65 million. It's like, it's unbelievable how much better this offense and team would be if Amari Cooper was lining up opposite CeeDee Lamb every week. Can you imagine?
It's honestly, it's too bad, because to see him sort of languishing in Cleveland with a lengthy
and he's
contract,
still doing Amari Cooper things, man.
I know, but like we're gonna be done talking about him by January every year for the remainder of his career if he stays in Cleveland. So it's just the facts. It's a bummer. I don't like when players of that skill level get traded to teams just to disappear. It sucks. Okay, here's what we're going to do, since we don't have an even split on the top 4. Pick me. Cowboys play the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Who goes to the Super Bowl?
We have Cowboys.
You're very far away from your microphone.
Oh, my bad. Cowboys.
Fine. Cowboys play the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Who's going?
49ers.
That's very honest of you, and probably correct.
Bro, I mean, when you look at this, all right, so let's just step back and fucking talk about this 49ers team for a second, bro. But they've won 7 in a row. Since they traded for McCaffrey, I think they're 8-1.
Yeah, and he looks the part like we've been talking
And
about since he got there.
he was the perfect addition to that offense. He's meant Kyle Shanahan literally designed an offense for Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey even fucking got to his team. You know what I mean? It's like he's just meant for that offense.
And then to have Brock Purdy come out and basically be like the second coming of Tom Brady in the last 3 weeks.
He's really good, man. He's really good.
Yeah.
He's got swag. That's what he's got. You know,
he believes in himself.
When you see a quarterback, you know within
like Burrow, like how we all felt about Burrow. Like
exactly. You either got it or you don't. Yeah. And Brock Purdy has it. And that defense is. Have you ever seen a defense dominate like they do on a weekly basis, bro? Since your Bears? I mean, the Bears are the last team I can think of. Like, it's absurd what they do to teams every week. They just break them. They break teams.
There's nothing I love more in the world than seeing a defense dictate a game. And I think that it's so rare because essentially like the rules of the game have been designed over the last decade or so that can't happen. You know what I mean? Like ever since we became a quarterback, skilled wide receiver, tight end, whatever league, an offensive league, that really hasn't been the case. And for the 49ers to be so good on defense, so well drilled, so disciplined, so talented, and to be so likable, you know, like their defensive characters, like like Bosa, so likable across the board. That red 49ers jersey looks just like a little brighter this year. Like it looks just a little bit better on everybody. Everybody just really looks good in that red and gold this year. And I think that to me, they're the team that have like the fairy dust. They have the magic right now. And I you can't quite put your finger on it, but like they just look the part of a team that might go and win a Super Bowl.
So we've talked at length of how good this defense is week in, week out. Since Brock Purdy took over that offense, they have the third ranked scoring offense since he took over.
3.
So number 3, right?
I wouldn't have been surprised if you said 1. Honestly, watching them,
they're so efficient. That's what it is
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. If you were to put a gun to my head and say who you picking to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm taking them.
I'm the best bet with the highest upside and the lowest downside is the San Francisco 49ers, right?
To see them hit 11 wins when they did, it was like, whoa. Like, where did this come from? They've been really enjoyable all year, and I think Shanahan, I would love to see him. I would love to see him win a title this year because I think that we should be putting respect on that guy's name. I really do. Yeah, I think that he has a unique and effective coaching style. I think he can make a good quarterback out of your next door neighbor. I think he can design a running scheme that almost anyone can fit into, except then you put Christian McCaffrey in there and it's insane. I think that he's put together a defense, and like obviously credit to his staff as well, but I think he's put together a defense that I've had more fun watching defensively than any team over the last few years. But I also say I've had a lot of fun watching the Cowboys up until the last few weeks, to be honest. But they're awesome. The 49ers are awesome.
It's not like this.
It's not. I mean, I think they probably have more talent. Like on paper.
But even at their peak, they didn't dominate games like this team does. No. Maybe a few times.
They made plays.
This team, the Cowboys bend a lot. They always have. Even in their dominance, they'll give up 3 40-yard plays every game.
Sure.
But they'll make 4 interceptions and have 2 forced fumbles, a strip sack, and a touchdown.
Yeah. High risk, high reward.
This 49ers team, man, is low risk, high reward every week. Like Nick Bosa
he's such a stud.
Maybe the best defensive player. Like and he's so humble and low key and like.
Nah, I still think it's you. I still think it's your boy.
You think Micah's number 1?
Yeah, Micah Parsons. I think still. If I'm like starting from scratch, my first overall pick is still Micah Parsons. To be honest.
Yeah, Bosa can't dictate a defense. He can't be the only guy. Micah could be
but they just put him in a position to make plays.
But every
play. Right, it's crazy. Right, it really is. It really is insane. Like there's nothing you can do about Bosa, you know, because of what that defense is doing. But there's nothing you can do about 8 of those guys. You know, like it's crazy, and they're all playing above themselves, and they're all still talented. So I'm really enjoying it. So So say we'll just call it right now. We're all sending the 49ers to the Super Bowl from the NFC. Big of you.
Yeah. I got to do it.
I think we're still on this. You're still probably, I don't think anything's changed. If the Bills play the Chiefs, you're probably sending the Bills. Or sorry, the Chiefs. If the Bills play the Chiefs, you're sending the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm sending Chiefs.
If the Bills play the Bengals, who are you sending?
That's tough.
Because I was thinking you would say you would send the Bills if it was against the Bengals to the Super Bowl, but I think you would send the Bengals if it was against the Chiefs. But you would.
That's why I love those.
You know what I mean?
Man.
It's it's a kind of a round robin going on right there. So I feel like that all could be true. I'm still taking the Chiefs. I have been unwavering in my support of them all year. I know that it's picking the best team, but they are the best team. So I'm fine.
I think
with it.
the emergence of Jerick McKinnon is so huge for them, man.
I know. I drafted him. I picked him up off the waiver wire. I should say in the fantasy football. It's really helped me. You know, I only not to keep talking about fantasy football. I've only got one player I drafted left on my team.
It's cool.
I should get some sort of like the negotiator award or something, if I don't win this thing.
Yeah, you should get some kind of award. That's cool.
I'll be so mad about fantasy football.
Fucking Denver Broncos.
A lot of money.
They're gonna haunt me for the rest of my fucking life.
I'm sure you're cheering for Riley now at this point. I understand.
Well, so all right, not to keep going on this, but like we're gonna keep going on this. So what was with bullshit is like we're also in another season-long league that like me and him started when we were in high school that we've had for a while. And we're playing in the finals in that league. Me and him, right? If I had beat you, we would have been playing in the finals in 2 fucking leagues, and we were just gonna split the pot down the middle and each win 500. Nice. Each win $550. And nope, fucked it all up by starting the.
I'll say this though: if I was in your other league, you both wouldn't have made the playoffs in that one too.
Oh yeah, funny.
Listen, man, just only have me in one league, and you'll be fine for the remainder of your fantasy football career.
I have to say, I turned that game on. Right, I turned that game on, and like it was already like the second quarter, and it was 31-0 as soon as I turned it on, and I just went, "Oh."
I remember being like, I was like, I need his defense to get negative points, or I'm fucked.
And they did. That's exactly what. Anyways,
so let's conclude then with this final question. As much as we believe in the 49ers, I don't think we have once declared the NFC the Super Bowl champions this season.
I'm doing it this time. If
you're saying they're beating any AFC team,
it doesn't matter. Yes, agreed. Yes.
Wow.
So we've seen, unless the Chiefs' offensive line shows me something against elite pass rush that I haven't seen before. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I mean, the Bengals offensive line is not holding up against the 49ers defense. The Chiefs offensive line, based off of our past experiences with the Chiefs and what we've seen, remember that Bucs Super Bowl where they just got spanked by that front seven. And then, I mean, the Bills, I feel like would have the best shot, right? Because of the way they play.
Matchup-wise,
it kind of mirrors them. But
they have a terrible offensive line.
I think the 49ers are the squad right now, man.
I think Josh Allen would get I think he would like miss all of next season if they played each other in the Super Bowl.
I think the 49ers are the team right now. It pains me to say, it really does, but like, how do you lose 2 starting quarterbacks and both times have it be the end of your season and be 11-3? That's different. You know what I mean? You don't see that. That's not something that happens every season.
I think on that note, this has been 49ers fan podcast, Missing the Point.
God damn.
Our second to last power rankings. It's been a blast. We've only got one more. I really hope everybody tunes in. It's been a great NFL season. It's been a ton of fun bringing the power rankings to you guys. We only have one more to make, Bobby, one more list to make. And I'm thinking it won't look that different in the top 8 as it does right now, but it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And I think we'll do a simultaneous playoff preview for you guys next week. Go more in depth into the matchups because they'll be established.
So cool. That's so after next week, we're gonna have playoff matchups.
It's gonna be playoff matchups, baby. We're here again, and the clock ticks and the world spins, and that has been missing the point. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Ringside with Ray and Prince. My name is Ray Leonard Jr.
Oh, is that the set? No, that's just my dad.
My name is Prince Daniels Jr.
Daniels again with a big home touchdown.
On this show, we come to humanize
Athletes, entertainers, business executives. We're going to see what makes them tick.
Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll see you there. Peace and power.
Electric acid.
Are you passionate about saving the planet for future generations? Do you want to learn how to do it? If yes, then you need to tune in to the Nature Backed podcast. It's a talk show covering the changing world around us, from renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, to ESG and social innovation. Don't miss this opportunity to discover how you can join the movement and make a difference. Subscribe to the Nature Backed podcast today on your favorite platform and get ready to be amazed.
Electric acid.